How is everybody doing today? It is the Chase Carter Concept Podcast for July 14th. Hope everyone, and by everyone I mean the 3 people who listen to this, are doing fantastic. Let's get into the things. I don't know. I thought, hard left turn here. I thought, hey, let's just talk about the Ubisoft video game company had a showcase this last week. Let's talk about video games the whole week. Let's ignore all of the crazy things going on in the world. But if you ignore it, does it get worse? Of course it gets worse. So we're going to go into just like normal, even though I'm fighting with myself. I have a internal struggle. So the United States is looking is looking at banning TikTok and other Chinese social media apps. So China is the enemy right now, apparently. Russian apps, they don't get traction for some reason, but the Chinese, they know how to make an addicting app for our children. And so yeah, but they did a deep dive, and I guess there's other apps. There's a list of these. There's there looks like to be about 20 of them that steal information, or not steal, that look at your information that it's not telling you, and all of them are weather apps, things I've never heard of, Composite 2, file managers, classic card games, super flashlight, super bright flashlight, mostly flashlights, color wallpapers, video maker. There's all these different apps in the Android store. Now, it doesn't say in the article that I read what extra information they're stealing. They just told you they're stealing extra information. So, if you're going to download a video maker or a wallpaper app, flashlight, screenshot capture thing, even though the phones today have a screenshot capture feature already in it, so I don't know why you would download that. But look out for that. Okay, now, sports news, the Cleveland Indians changing their name, ? This hasn't, the Indians, the Redskins, and I think the Braves were considering it. I think now they're not changing it because they shouldn't change it, because Braves, anything Native American isn't a racist remark. The Blackhawks, the Cleveland Buckeyes, there's all these different. Now, Redskins, I can kind of see how that's racist, but it wasn't as far as I know, it wasn't a derogatory term. It just describes the color of their skin. So I don't understand how a color can be racist, but how, I don't know. But they're not red, though. That's the thing. It's like, so they're not. It's just, I don't know. It's like white people aren't really white, or like this weird pink color. I don't know. I think people are getting too worked up over it. But if it offends people, and if it's gonna bother enough, sponsors. That's the word I'm looking for. Then they're gonna get rid of it. They're gonna get rid of anything. Not because it's racist, because it will cost them money. That is the issue. And speaking of racial news, a black person got in trouble for quoting. I can't believe this actually happened. So Eagles wide receiver DeSean Jackson, he had to submit an apology because to support the Black Lives Matter movement and to draw attention to the racial inequalities here in America, he posted a quote from a page from a book and all the other words are crossed out, are blacked out for some reason. But the part that he highlighted, it says, "The will extort America. Their plan for world domination won't work if the Negroes know who they were." And that was a quote from Adolf Hitler. So I don't know how this, I just don't see. So to bring, the whole movement is to bring equality to our system, to society. The whole thing is to bring equality. So to support your claim that America is racist, excuse me, it's just a bad look. You quote possibly the worst person ever to live on the planet. And is he going to lose his job? You know, if a white person quoted, but it's context. You know, if a white person quoted Hitler, he wouldn't be alive. So I don't understand, because I read the article. It says, after posting images of anti-Semitic messages on social media, he didn't post any anti-Semitic. It wasn't a Jew thing. It was, now granted, it's a quote, Adolf Hitler. So I guess if you just say any quote by Adolf Hitler, but then I don't know. It wasn't a anti-Semitic post. I don't think so. It's like, hey, look, even Hitler got this one right. That's not what he said. He's like, hey, 99% of what Hitler was saying was bullshit. But this one thing, he talked about black people in a good way. It's like, no, he wanted to eradicate everybody. He was trying to create dissension in America. Because if you weaken it from within, it's easier to take over. And that's what he was doing across the world. And what's scary to think, if Hitler didn't try to take over everything, that power might still be going on today. If he didn't try to take over other countries and expand his reach or whatever. But then I think things like that, things that volatile, like flame out. People that aggressive, they don't have that that feeling in them, like, okay, this is enough, we're good. It's just it's more, and then it just consumes itself. It's very interesting how a black athlete is trying to get a point across that black people are equal or aren't lesser than, and he quotes Adolf Hitler. That is something that I never thought would happen. But let's switch topics. Critics from the Huffington Post, the Huff Post, critics pile on Vogue magazine over Simone Biles photos, calls for more black photographers. So when a black person gets photographed now, you have to have black Isn't that, to me, that would come off as racist. So you have a normal crew, a normal mixed crew, whatever. Say, generally speaking, an all-white crew, because we're the majority. I forget what the percentage is. Let's see here. USA mix or white population. White percentage. Person 65 years, okay. Female persons 50%. White alone percent. We are 76% of this country, quote unquote, white people, which is it's Italians, it's Serbian, it's a lot. White people get mixed in all together. But we're 75% of this country. So if you have a crew that's 75% white and then you're photographing a Mexican person, or a black person, or an Asian person, you have to find an Asian. That would be, I don't know. It seems like we're segregating because of trying to make things equal. It seems like we're becoming more racist. Instead of just not talking about race or bringing it up, you see racism wherever. If you're looking for racism, are you seeing it everywhere? It's like the what is it? The movie Boomerang with Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, where Martin Lawrence's character sees everything as racism, and he sees like the game of pool as racism, which is a funny like comedic concept. The white ball is knocking, the earth is green, the felt is green, and so the pool table's the earth, and then the cue ball is white, and that's the one you hit, and it knocks all the other colored balls off the earth, off the table. And the game ends when the white ball knocks the black ball off the table. And then in my head, as someone who played pool a little bit growing up, I'm like, well, what about 9-ball? 9-ball doesn't end. It ends when you hit the white and yellow stripe ball off the end. Off the table. So it's just, I don't know. I think if you're looking for it, you're going to find it. Like if this Olympic champion, Simone Biles, gets photographed, it's okay. It's okay that she gets photographed by a white person. It's okay. It's fine. If she requests a black photographer, then get her a black photographer. She's doing them a favor. Like who would you like, Vogue or Simone Biles? Like Simone Biles is doing them a favor. She has so many gold medals. She has so many medals that she can't remember how many she has. It's unbelievable. Not the racist part, the part that she has so many Olympic, not just medals and I don't know. I was in a lot of track meets when I was in junior high and high school. No. Olympic gold medals. Do you know how accomplished you have to be to forget? It's kind of like Bill Russell, probably with his championship rings. He's like, where was that night? Where was that 60? Oh, man, I can never remember. That one always, I never remember where I put that one. You have so many championship rings that it's just, you forget it. Anyway, Disney deadline has an article. Disney World reopening gets mixed reactions as fans give parks welcome back videos horror treatment. So Disney World is opening up again, and people are upset that it's open. People are very upset. One person said, I can't say how utterly disappointed I am in Disney. They cater to families and children, in all capitals with the exclamation mark at the end. At what point do they stop making money and look after the families and the children? And all in capitals again. Hey, idiot, it's a business. If you think Disneyland cares at all about you and your health, they don't care at all. They're a business. What's the point of a business? To make money. If you don't want to go, don't go. Nobody is forcing you to go to Disneyland. That's why I never understood when, say, you're watching a TV show and something happens on the TV show and people are outraged by it. You have a remote. You have the ability to hit the back button on your phone and stop watching the Netflix show. It's real simple. But guess what? This person, as soon as vaccine comes out and things go back to a certain percentage of normal, guess who's going to be going to Disneyland? All these people that were criticized. Well, I guess it wasn't as bad. And little Jimmy and Jennifer want to go see the mouse. And guess what? You're going to go see the mouse. You're going to go see Star Wars. you're going to go see the new Marvel movie. And Disney is and you're going to watch the next sports game on ESPN. And Disney is going to take money and money and money and money, which is good for them. They're one of the biggest companies in the world. But that's insane how these people think the children, because they make children's movies, they care. No, they make children's movies because they know they're timeless and they're just going to keep making money. Remember when VHSs had the little cardboard sleeve you put it in? Disney said, no, we're going to make our movies have that big plastic, that thing you open up, and it's going to look different, and it's going to cost more. And we're going to, actually, it's probably going to cost them the exact same as that little cardboard thing. And we're going to put a whole bunch of extra plastic into the world and pollute the world. We're going to charge you extra for it. God bless me. I sneezed. I might have to cut that out. But it's like there's a thing going on right now with video games. They're talking about raising the price because they're switching to a newer console, and so these consoles are going to be harder to develop for, more difficult. The cost of making a game has been going up, so they're going to charge more for the games, which is fine. Inflation, it should be around 60 or 70, or should be around $70, $80 for a game. And people are saying, "Oh, when's enough enough? At what point have you made enough money?" It's never enough money. That's like a bank teller at a job, and they offer him, "Hey, do you want to make 100,000 instead of 80?" No, I have enough money. I'm fine. That's never happened, ever. So why do you expect businesses to do it? Because they make an amount of money that you can't count to? Like, they have shareholders, they have people who work at their place of business that needs that money. Have health care and all that stuff. They need it too. It's not like it's going to one or two people. Like, a lot of people survive because of these big companies. And we need big companies, just how we need small companies. And medium-sized companies. We need everybody to be equal. It's just kind of weird. Oh, and then I thought another interesting headline. San Diego Comedy Club rebrands shows to protests and comedians to protesters to stay open. There's a comedy club down here, the American Comedy Club. That it's so funny. They rebranded the name of the comedy club. It was originally, as I said, the American Comedy Club, so ACC, or yeah, the American Comedy CO, so company. They rebranded their name to the American Comedy Company Cultural Connection Community Center. Oh no, good job. I'm doing great here. American Comedy Company Cultural Connection Communication Community Center. So the ACCCCCCC, an effort to stay open during the pandemic. Because countywide breweries, wineries, distilleries, museums, zoos, card rooms, which I'm upset about, theaters, and family entertainment have all been closed down, which is, I still don't understand why. I'm going to go off on a soapbox here, but it's not the point. However, the venue has gotten creative. Comedy shows are now called comedy civil disobedience shows. Comedians are now called protesters, and performances are called protest. We no longer have a stage. We have a protest platform. So God bless these people. I think they said they're not charging. It's like open mics and all that stuff. I might go down there and check it out and not get any laughs. Another interesting thing I just saw a headline It was just weird to me. Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell were being interviewed by, I think, Entertainment Tonight, ET, yeah. Kristen Bell is sitting in Dax Shepard's lap the entire interview, like a little kid. What grown person sits in another person's lap? And how small is she that Dax Shepard is not uncomfortable? I'm all for dating cute little women. And big women. But like I kind of want a woman, like medium-sized girl who, like, when she sits in my lap for longer than 30 seconds, it hurt. My leg goes dead. Like, there's actually some weight behind her. She's sitting on this dude's lap, like, and just talking as like a little. I didn't watch the interview. I don't know what was said, but just the image of her sitting on her husband's lap it's a little funny to me. Five Guys employees, the fast food chain Five Guys employees were fired for refusing to serve police officers in Alabama as tensions mount between service workers and law enforcement. You should get fired. 100%. If that place gets robbed, who are you calling? You dumb idiot. You're calling your friend Leroy? You're calling Hector? You're calling, let's see, Tommy, who you calling? Who you calling if the place gets robbed? If someone comes into that place and holds a gun to your head, who's protecting you? Guess what? Not you. Who are the people that put their lives on the line every single day? Police officers. Serve them their fat, laden food so they can have big guts and sit out on the highways in speed traps and give people tickets for going 10 miles over the speed limit. Okay? Can we do that, please? See how I switch sides? But it's I don't get how we've come to the point where cops are the bad people. No, bad people are the bad people. We need reform. I don't know if we need reform, but we need tweaks. We need small incremental tweaks, because if you make wild changes, there are going to be consequences that no one saw coming. But guess what? Guess what the consequences of defunding the police is going to be? More crime, because there is always bad people out there. It's not a myth. Police aren't making up the idea of a bad person. Hey, guess what? I think people have it so good in America that they don't realize how bad things are in other places. Drug lords in Mexico, the cartels down there. People always like, well, I went to Mexico and I went to a resort and it was really nice. That's not Mexico. That's not Jamaica. Those aren't those places. When you go to those places, they have armed militia surrounding those places so the bad people don't come in and kill you. And we don't have that here. We don't have that. We have like one or two little security guards for a place that needs protection. Because we have police who are generally not crooked. A majority aren't. Sad news. A decorated Green Beret known as Captain America commits suicide. 34 years old. Andrew Christian. And I don't know how to say his last name. Marcinsano? Sano? Marckesano. Marcinsano? Yeah, I'm not even going to try it anymore. This guy is a real decorated guy. He was even, his last text message that it's insane how people can go from fine to, I guess he committed suicide in front of his wife. He left behind 3 kids. Real sad news. I'm just wondering, how people can go from successful master sergeant, multiple tours. But I guess that stuff just weighs on you. I'm not going to even pretend to know what it's like to be a Green Beret and what he saw, especially in the war in Afghanistan. But, man. And then and the crazy part, in the article they wrote, he just sent out a mass text to a bunch of people saying, like, hey, we're all one family. If you need anything, if you're feeling down. Like, he was basically saying, if you're thinking about committing suicide, we're here for you. Like, I'll be here for you. And then he does it. It's so sad. I don't know what else to... But thank you for your service, Master Sergeant. Jesus, dude. Couldn't imagine... Oh. I didn't even want to finish the article because I was afraid that they would say how he did it in front, and then I would have that. So sad. Let's move on to, I would say, more uplifting news. That we're going into video games now. This is a video game part section of the podcast. In Call of Duty Warzone, a white supremacist gesture was removed. And I'm shocked by that headline. But it was the OK symbol. It's not okay to use OK. So, what? So you can just take... So it's the same thing I think of as people are controlling other people's actions. Like, you can't take something... I don't know. Like, the OK symbol is not... There's context to it, right? There has to be. You would think. Like, people can't... Some racist group says, hey, the thumbs up is our thing now. We're going to do that. Can nobody use thumbs up? Hey, if you walk with your hands down by your side, that's our thing. That means you hate Chinese people. That's our thing. So people can't walk. Video games have to... Like, what are we doing? Unless it's like the... if it's an OK sign, like, I don't know. Because there was that game where you put the OK sign below your waist. And if it's like someone looked at it, then you hit them. You can't do that. Like, there's even... That's not... Like, what? So I'm going back. I'm of two minds. I'm of two minds about all this. We're policing and controlling things way too much. Not actual police. Like, people's gestures and actions. It's kind of how what was it? In the 90s, everything was like raw, unedited. Girls Gone Wild videos. Professional wrestlers like flipping each other off, cussing each other out, and now none of that is on TV anymore. Wrestling's all PG. You can't even show blood anymore. So it's just weird how we're being more not coddled, but like more... It's like a safe zone. And I know I only use two examples. Like, Game of Thrones is more violent. But then you can even say, like, Game of Thrones, they had all the sex in the beginning. And as the show got more popular, they took all that out. Because they didn't want to offend anybody. But that's what the shocking part of it was. That's what got everybody hooked. And then once you get them hooked, then you turn it into a mainstream product. But I'm off topic, but I don't understand if... It's all about context. It's all how you use it. Just like words. It's like if you call your friend a bitch. What's up, bitch? It's like, hey, buddy, how you doing? But that sounds stupid to people. If you're nice all the time, hey, buddy, hey, pal, that sounds corny and dumb. So people use the other extremes. You don't mean the person's an actual bitch. Oh, hey, stupid. You don't think... There's a whole bunch of words we used to call each other. We can't call each other anymore. Here's another headline I thought was interesting. There's a downside of the death of the loading screen you might not have considered. So there's an article saying that we're going to miss out, video game fans, we're going to miss out on a part of gaming because there's no loading screens. And I'm like, what are they talking about? Clicked on the article, read through it. They said the hints, tips, and tricks part of the loading screen and lure. You know, all those games, you know, those great games where you read information on the loading screen. You're like, oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah, no, nobody have that in game. Wrong. If you have a tip, hey, block like this, use your sword like this, have a character in the game that you meet that trains you. If you block, blah, 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 this. And then in games, I also don't like how they're like, if you use the left trigger, well, in the game, you want to be immersed in the game. If you want to block, then don't have the character in the game say left trigger. Like, to block, do this, and then maybe a prompt will show up on the screen. But to say that because there will, it's just a weird, it's just a take to have a take on something, but to say that there's a downside to there is no downside to less loading screens. Time is the most important thing on this planet, and if you could save time, then that's good. Let's see what other video game news we got here. Yeah, let's talk another sad thing I saw. Let's not bring it back to sad, but you remember MythBusters? Grant Imahara? He died. He died at 49. He had a brain aneurysm. 49 years old. This is a guy I watched growing up. I guess that happens as you get old, but 49. Dang, that's young. It's insane. Okay, let's talk about the Ubisoft showcase. Far Cry 6 trailer looked amazing. One of my favorite Breaking Bad characters. Looks like maybe the main protagonist, and you're maybe like a little kid underneath him. Maybe, or you become that kid, or you're maybe somebody else. No idea. But the trailer, I'm going to do my best to describe it. He's like a dictator, a El Presidente type character, and it shows this little kid playing with this model, and he's making this perfect little toy car model, and he's making it, and he's painting it, and he's done. And then the El Presidente comes in and he goes, looks good, exquisite, looks perfect, completely useless. Now listen. And he talks to the kid, and then he puts a grenade in the kid's hand. The kid's like maybe 12, 13 years old. Very influential age. And he's talking about the country. And outside the place that they're in this like big, looks like an embassy type place. Outside the embassy, the people are rioting. There's guards out there protecting the building. And he's talking about the grenade and the parts of the grenade. And then the kid and him have their hands on the grenade. Talking about the pin and the shell and then the fuse. And so then the guy, El Presidente, pulls the pin. And he's like, what are you doing, father? And then the kid grabs the grenade even tighter. He's holding on to it, making sure that he doesn't release, I don't know what's the actual part, the handle, whatever it is. So, and he's talking about this metaphor that the people and then they walk up to the top of the building, and he's explaining the outrage, and these people, like, even you have to this, no matter what I say or do, it's always the wrong thing. I'm the evil person. I'm the monster or whatever. And he's like, the tighter you hold them, the more you hold them, and the tighter you hold them to stop them from exploding and destroying themselves, is the metaphor of the grenade. It's a really cool metaphor, and it's really powerful because as he's talking, they flash to like someone throwing a Molotov cocktail, and it has a lot of imageries of what's going on in the riots today. And it's just, I was like, that's the way they did it. I don't know if they meant to. Obviously, I think they meant to, but it's just really cool how they kind of tied all that in. But if you want to watch that, it's the Far Cry 6 official reveal trailer. And then it looked like he asked the kid, like, I think they're on top of the building, and the kid and him are holding the grenade out like they're going to drop it on the people below. And he's like, "Are you evil?" And he goes, "No." And he's like, "Are you a monster?" "No." And then he goes, "Prove it." So I think he has to let his people explode. He has to let go of his people and have his people do his own thing. So like that. Or are you a dictator and you're going to keep a tight grip on your people? Like, what is your choice? The UFC 251, an actual real, not a video game pay-per-view, was last weekend. Really good card. Really enjoyed it. Know zero about fighting. All I know is it was entertaining as hell to watch those men and women do what they do. Rose Namajunas, Jorge Masvidal, Usman, Kamaru Usman, Jose Aldo. I don't know how to the guy he fought. I still can't. I can't remember his name. I'm still working on names and everything, but really, really, really good pay-per-view. Not too many. The main event people call boring. But Kamaru Usman would just. My girlfriend fell asleep. He just wore Masvidal out. Just leaned on him out. I think technique as far as like wrestling and holding. He didn't really wrestle like, I don't know. He basically held him up against the cage and just wore on him and just beat him up. But didn't beat the shit out of him. Didn't like destroy him. Just wore him down enough to where Jorge couldn't hurt him. He's like, okay, I'm safe here. I'm safe up against the cage. I'm going to limit the amount of things I have to worry about. And I'm in control here. And he stepped on Jorge's foot a lot. Like with his heel, stomped on this guy's foot. That was the part that I was like, I don't think that should be legal. That's kind of a dick move, I think. And again, I'm not a fighter. Maybe you don't feel it in the moment, but then you can't walk for 6 weeks afterwards. But the reason I'm talking about this is because UFC 4 got announced at the event. The trailer showed like this backyard level where people are fighting in a backyard octagon, like Jorge Masvidal did when he was younger. And then they showed Israel Adesanya fighting in this temple, like this Street Fighter type get up. So I don't know if it's going to be if there's going to be certain modes that are more fantastical, so to speak, instead of just relying on realism fighting in the octagon over and over and over and over and over. So it should be interesting. And then they also put in Anthony Joshua, who, if you don't know, is a boxer. They put him in the game, and they also put Tyson Fury, who is a boxer as well, into the game for some reason. Even though I think they're not over 260. They're around I don't know if they can get down to 260. Because I forget hearing Tyson Fury talk about how much he weighed. But it'd be interesting to see if they would fight in that division. Actually, it wouldn't be interesting. They would get destroyed because they're not mixed martial artists. Just how they would mixed martial artists get destroyed in boxing matches. Okay, we talked about Far Cry 6. Okay, we're going to talk about two more games. AC Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Watch Dogs Legion. My hopes are high. I'm starting to get into Watch Dogs Legion. I'm not going to get it when it comes out because it's going to be priced $70, and I'm not going to support that. I'm going to buy it used, probably for a little bit less. But I want to buy it from Ubisoft because I want to support them. The NBA 2K game, I'm buying used off somebody else. 2K is not getting my money anymore. That's what I did for the past 2 years. I like certain aspects of their game. Like one aspect, I like being the player in the NBA and all that. But the microtransactions and all that other BS they put in the game, and they just you can't buy tattoos unless you spend VC. You can't buy dribble. They hide everything behind VC. And yes, you can earn VC. And after a while, it doesn't become a problem unless you want to buy things. And you can also, like, as soon as you get the game, you can buy a VC pack and then have an overall 85 when everyone else is stuck at 65 who wants to play the game normal. Like, what? What? Oh, but you have to grind if you want to get to 99. Yeah, if you want to spend every waking minute of your day doing it. But people do. And they make millions, billions of dollars off of that franchise. Good for them. But I'm not... that's part of me that's going to vote with my wallet. That's why I wait for these games. The games that I don't support. Excuse me. That I don't support. Buy used. Buy them off somebody. And in that way, that's the only way you can really vote. I mean, you don't have to play these games when they come out. But a lot of people do. They want to get the new Far Cry. They want to get the new Valhalla. They want to be involved in that. Kind of how, like, I want to play Last of Us 2, Part 2. I want to play Ghost of Tsushima. What other game? I want to play Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't have a PlayStation 4. So when the PlayStation 5 comes out, I'm going to see if my friends who have a PlayStation 4 let me borrow it for a little bit because they're not going to need it anymore. Then I'm going to buy all these. I'm going to buy the Spider-Man games. I'm going to get all these games at a low discounted rate, and I'm going to have the best PlayStation games for a good 6 months. Play it, get out of here, get rid of them, and then give the PlayStation back to my friend. Or maybe not give it back. Maybe he forgot about it by that point. But Watch Dogs Legion looks really good. The way all of the NPCs apparently interact and have different, I guess, lives and ability based on their lives and their work. They're going to have different abilities. And how that's all integrated, that's the part that looks extremely interesting to me. That's the part that looks next generational. But again, I haven't played it, so who knows if it's going to feel, it's like one of those games that feels open and endless for the first, 3 hours, and then you start seeing the repetitive holes in it. It's like in a video game, if you run through a village, it feels like a village is alive. It feels like people are doing stuff. But if you stop and look, you see they're just doing the same animation over and over and over and over and over. Pardon me. Really gassy today. Got it. I'm going to eat the hell out of that banana sitting there, though, after this podcast. I've been waiting for you, banana. Yeah, in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I did not like Origins. But the theme of Valhalla I like. So I'm going to try it out and see. 2 years when the game's on sale, I'll probably get it. I'm going to try Odyssey here. I'm still playing. I'm still playing Star Wars. I'm really liking that game. I'm really, really liking that game. Just the overall feel. They got the Star Wars tone. To me, anyway, they did. Extremely happy about that game. And it was free. One of my friends had an extra code. He bought a console that came with the code, and he gave it to me, which was so nice of him. He's a sweet boy. He's a sweet boy. So I'm going to finish playing that, and then after that game, I'm still playing Sea of Thieves with my girl, and then I will, I don't know what after Star Wars, what game we got to play. I'm still playing NBA 2K occasionally. Recording video footage of that, editing it, and then doing a player breakdown on YouTube. Just going to their history, like their high school, if anything happened to them in high school, interesting stories growing up. If they have, I did one on Zach LaVine, Jaylen Brown. Who was the last one? Andrew Wiggins. I played the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm going to finish playing that, and then after that game, I'm still playing NBA 2K occasionally. Recording video footage of that, editing it, and then doing recording footage of that, and then doing video footage of that, Yeah, I think I've done 3 so far. It was kind of cool, like kind of not like a complete breakdown of their entire lives, but just doing research for a day or two, seeing what their college career was like. And it's real interesting because you think of like Michael Jordan going into college and averaging 40 and being, oh, that's the guy. These guys are averaging like 19, 20, 16 points. And then they go in the NBA and they're hitting 30. And you're like, how? It's like, oh, the game's faster. It's more at pace. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I think Andrew Wiggins had 41 points one time. He was the number 1 overall pick. I was like, you would think he would have more than that. You think of like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in high school, Magic Johnson in college, like just these crazy numbers. But they're the exceptions. They're not the rule. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The main thing I did not like in Origins was the combat. It felt too floaty. It didn't feel like when you stab somebody, like the sword was in them. It just didn't feel real. That's one of the reasons I liked Ghost of Tsushima. It looked like, it appeared, at least what they showed, that there's weight to the sword. The sword's heavy. It takes a lot of effort to swing it. And that's what I liked about it anyway. But we'll see if this is better than Origins. I'm pretty sure it will be. I watched some guy do a deep dive on Assassin's Creed Origins, just the world in general, and looking around the world, and he saw things I didn't see, and I'm like, oh, that is really, really cool how they did that. But still, the game is not fun to play. The world building and how the maps are made is all really, really cool and interesting. But just the game wasn't fun. It had a lot of promising aspects, and hopefully they fixed it in Odyssey. I'm gonna play that and try it out. Gotta try it out. So I don't know what game I'm gonna play after that. After Star Wars, I gotta figure it out. Me and my girl are still playing this. She comes home every day, still. Assassin's Creed? Or not Assassin's, sorry, Sea of Thieves. And yesterday we did a merchant mission, which was fun. And then after that merchant mission, we just had to, we got bottles, silks, and a plant from one place. And then we sailed it down to Shipwreck Bay. And then there was a brigantine headed straight for us. Probably, I'd say medium distance away from us, not too close, but it turned and pointed its stern right at us. Or no, its stern, its bow. We saw its stern, and then it turned, and just headed straight for us, and we're like, Arr! Turned the other direction, we're like, run, she got all nervous. We sailed away from that guy. We had a rowboat in the back, so we put because of the supplies, we had to go to Shipwreck Bay, that island where the brigantine was. So we went off and a few islands away, waited. They didn't pursue because we sailed into the wind, and we got away. But then we didn't want to go back. We knew they were still over there, so we had to go. My idea was put everything in the rowboat, and then she wanted to row the boat. The rowboat's smaller than the big ship, obviously. So less likely that she'd be seen. So she gets there on the island, and then she lets me know, hey, there's nobody here. They're gone. There's nobody in sight. So I'm like, okay. So then I bring the ship over. We turn the stuff in. It starts to rain. There's a storm that happens. I don't think lightning hit us that time. I think lightning hit us another time. Is what I'm thinking about right now. Trying to go over this in my head. And then as we're sailing along, a skeleton ship surfaced from underneath the deeps. It surfaced. We killed that. Took that loot, turned it in. We switched alliances to Order of Souls, and then we did a ghost ship mission. And her and I took down the ghost ships, and then the main vessel, the main ghost ship, got all the loot from that. Turned that in, and she went to bed, and then I turned the crew to open, and then I started fishing, waiting for this one. There's a ancient skeleton that pops up, and it gives you like the currency in the game that is real money. So I was just waiting for that. And some guy came in. If you can hear the saw in the background, I apologize. They're doing construction across the street. They're always building around here. Production. So, yeah, fishing. And then a new guy came in. He wanted to fight. There was another ship. There was a skeleton fort that was active and people were sitting there. So we go over there. We sink them. And then right as we sink them, their treasure pops up. That floats to the surface. I'm getting the... and then this guy's mic messes up. You hear it like... I was like, dude, I can't hear anything you're saying. So he stops talking completely for some reason. And then I'm trying to harpoon all the treasure on board. And as soon as like the second to last piece, I see a brigantine, possibly the one from before with me and my girl. Danger close. They start shooting at us, right? Hitting us. I'm like, oh shit. So then I get back on the helm. I drop the sails. I sail away. But my friend, my new friend, the guy, he wants to fight. He's firing cannons. So we fight. We end up losing the ship. Like all three of them board us, put a few holes in our ship, and then we sink. We didn't really have anything anyway, besides a few pieces of fish. He leaves, and then I start fishing some more, trying to get the ancient skeletons to pop up. And then another guy joins in, and I had some supplies on the ship, and I gave him my ship, turned into fish, and then signed off. And that was my adventure last night. That game, there's so many different things that can happen in the game. Me, my brother Danny, and my girlfriend were playing, and we were doing a tall tale, but there was a Reaper ship by where we had to go, and they were fighting somebody else. So we were like, okay, we're gonna get attacked. None of us are good at the game, so let's just go to a port, turn in the treasure that we had, and then see what it is. So we turned it in, and then we see another like a skeleton ship event, a cloud in the sky, and you go there and you fight some skeleton ships. And we had some gunpowder barrels, and Danny was like, hey, let's go do that. So well, okay, Danny wants to do that, let's do it. So we do all that. We fight the skeleton ships, and in the middle of fighting the skeleton ships, a huge storm just materializes, and we're fighting these skeleton ships inside a storm, and like the compass gets spun around. You can't tell what direction you're going in. You can't tell if you're next to an island until you pretty much hit it. So we end up killing within all that. We ended up almost sinking twice. The water level got pretty high. Sunk them. And then there were 2 piles of treasure that floated up. So this was my mistake. I sent my girlfriend and my little brother Danny in a rowboat to go get one pile. I took the boat, and it's still storming. It's still raining, still windy. Waves are going. I go and get another, and they're both in the storm. So I get near the treasure that I was supposed to go after. I drop the anchor, because if you don't drop the anchor, the boat just spins in place. It just spins around and around and around in a storm, and you can't get all that stuff on board. But that was the mistake. I should have been spinning. I should have left it spinning, because as soon I got all the treasure on board, and I was about to raise the anchor, and then a kraken hits, and these kraken tentacles come up and just wrap around the ship, and I'm there by myself in the middle of a storm. I can't see anything. My girlfriend and my brother are on a rowboat by themselves, and then they bring the rowboat in inside the area where the kraken is, and I guess the kraken hurts the rowboat. There's like this black inky water, I guess, that hurts rowboats. I don't know, just in general. And so all of that treasure sunk. My ship sunk. The ship I was on sunk because it's a 3-person operated ship, and I can't do it by myself. They couldn't get back to me. So we all sunk. We lost everything. And it was a really cool story and moment to tell, because it was It was all random. It was all completely these random events and based off of the decisions I made as a captain, I made a bad decision to drop that anchor and leave it down. Because if the Kraken, I could have possibly gotten out of there, but I could not raise the anchor while the Kraken is attacking. That's something you can't do. But not by myself anyway. It was just bad all around. It was fun though. Had a really good time. Always have a really good time to play that game. But I think that's it. That's 55 minutes. I've been talking for an hour. It's time for me to shut up. That was a Chase Carter Concept podcast, and that's what's been happening with me. Oh, my toenail fell off. My toenail is about to fall off. That's another thing. I posted a video of me taking half my toenail off, and I've never gotten so many private messages before. And by so many, I mean like 5. Just people calling me gross. That was the point. That was the point. I got out of the shower. My toenail was nice and soft, and it's just about popping off. It was worth it. But I hope you guys have a good week. Hopefully everyone's staying safe out there. Stay safe. I didn't know we were in danger. If you don't like Disneyland, don't go to Disneyland. If you don't like a game, if you don't like a movie, if you don't like something, don't complain about it. Just turn it off.